Good day to everyone for joining us to another session of the Ultimate Connection with Hashem. We are again studying the principles of Jewish meditation and intuition. And we are now on our 10th lesson. Okay, those who are joining us for the first time, my name is Rabbi Yosef Chaim Mimran. I'll be your host for these lessons. This is actually going to be a follow-up session to our last session, which we spoke about auras and what's the makor, what's the source in Jewish literature for auras, and how we can sense that, sense auras and colors. And that's actually going to be our main topic today is talking about colors. And you might think that's very superficial, but you see it's quite deep. And a lot of people don't understand how deep it is. But, first of all, I want to discuss something very important that it came up in the chats, some of our members, about the difference between Jewish meditation and non-Jewish meditation. I think it's very, very important to get this. This is one of the foundations that we are going to be discussing over here. So, you have to understand that non-Jewish meditation, I'm not an expert in non-Jewish meditation, but let me tell you what all the literature that I've read and heard, what I understood. In a nutshell, what it is that I think even according to the Buddhist philosophy, they feel that the whole world is suffering. Everything around us, this world is a place for suffering. And the goal of a person, the non-Jew, not a Jew, for a non-Jew is to get out of suffering, to end the suffering. Now, how do you do that? How do you end the suffering? We know life is very challenging, and life is something that you can't really leave unless they commit suicide. But how do you end the suffering? So the way they do it is by meditation. And they meditate very, very deeply for hours and hours and hours, and sometimes days and days and months. That is, in a nutshell, what their goal is. The goal of their meditation is to end the suffering. Our goal of meditating is completely different. We don't look at life as a place of suffering. We look at life as a place of challenge, as a place of growth, as a place where Hashem puts us here to test us, to become better people. He can admit this, to become a better person. So where does this meditation come in? Meditation for us is simply to connect to Hashem. Because we know there's a lot of buzz in our heads. We have a lot of things happening to us, pulling us in this direction. Like the Ramchal says, pulling us from all directions. It's a war. It's a struggle. So therefore, how do you minimize the struggle and focus straight ahead on what you're supposed to be doing, which is the 316 mitzvahs? How do you do that? Well, one of the ways to do that is to meditate. Meditate will empower you to focus on the task at hand. Now, the way we are using meditation in our context over here in this series is to mekayim one of the 613 mitzvahs, which is called the Dov Kobo. So on last week's Parshas Ekev, we talked about the mitzvah. The Gemara talks about how do you mekayim this mitzvah? It's so difficult. How can you be attached to Hashem? Hashem is fire. How can you attach to fire? So there's different pshatim, but we try to learn something a bit more deeper than pshat. We try to learn according to the Kabbalists, and what the Kabbalists tell us, it's really a form of meditation. And through meditating, one is able to connect to Hashem by propelling himself or herself out of their perimeters, Olam Hazeh, this world, into the spiritual world where Hashem lives. Okay, that's very simplified, but that's really the goal of what we're trying to achieve over here. Okay? Now, it's true we're doing other exercises. We're empowering our intuition, developing our intuition, but those are really exercises to get us to a place where we can outsource ourselves, and be out there and think, to rewire our brains in order to meditate, in order to connect. Okay, and those who understand, what are we trying to connect to? In Kabbalistic terms, it's called the Kav Ein Sof. Kav Ein Sof. And basically what Hashem did for us in this world, he didn't just throw us into this world, into a world of childless, but rather sent down a safety cord, or an umbilical cord, as I call it. That is the Kav Ein Sof. That is where we were supposed to reconnect to that lifeline, that ladder that leads up to Shemayim, and that connects us to Hashem. That empowers us. That gives us chizuk. That gives us power. It's an incredible source of energy where we can tap into. And the only way you can do it, the only way is through meditation. Well, that's the way the Kabbalists understand this. Avraham Abulafia, others, the Ramak, the Ramchal, in various different places, and obviously the Arizal. So that is what we're trying to achieve in these series of classes. So I want to make that clear. So we're not here to try to become psychics or mediums or intuitive, or put on shows for our friends by showing how intuitive we can go, we can be and guess things. But rather, we're learning and training ourselves, training our minds to connect to Hashem. Okay, so make that clear, because people were trying to find out exactly what is the goal of this class. So I hope I made that clear. Okay, so let's move on over here. And what I want to discuss over here is colors. Now, what this class is going to be based on a sefer called Pardes Ramoni. Pardes Ramoni is one of our great sources, our authentic Kabbalistic sources, and it was written by Moshe Cordovero. Moshe Cordovero, Moshe Cordovero was one of the greatest Kabbalists that ever lived. He was he had a yeshiva in Tzfat before the times of the Arizal, and the Arizal actually was his student. And in Shar Yud, Perik Aleph, in Shar Gevanim, he gives us a clear understanding of the power of colors. Now, I think you'll find this fascinating. People just think colors are colors, but colors are frequencies. Colors are vibrations. And in the same way we get affected, that we spoke about in the last couple of classes, frequencies and waves, they affect us emotionally, physically. So do colors. Understand, everything in this world is really just energy. And when energy hits you, it hits you with a power. And depending on the frequency, that will affect you in different ways. So let's just jump into this, and this will be a translation of the Perek Yud in the Ramak. Okay, see, these are all quotes. This is his wordings. I'll just be translating with his words in English. So the first thing he teaches us is colors are a manifestation of abundance of influences that are rooted above. Okay, so we know that everything is mirror image. Whatever is in this world has a source and a root in the spiritual worlds. So if we can see and we can also sense colors, you have to know that has a spiritual root in the spiritual worlds. There's no question that colors are hosted in the celestial 10 paradigms in the spheres, the sphirot, from which flow all abundance. Okay, we're not going to go into the Kabbalistic spheres of Kesser all the way down to Malchus. But these are very, this is where Hashem is manhig, is leads his world, is through the different 10 paradigms. Basically split into 3 different sections, Chesed, and then you have Dinim to the left, Chesed to the right, Dinim to the left, and then the middle kav, middle line, that is Rachamim. Okay, a balance between Chesed and Gvur. Those are split into 10, and those 10 have spiritual colors attached to each one of them. Very powerful. For this reason, he writes, if one desires to draw down influence of mercy from the paradigm of Chesed, imagine the paradigm of Chesed in the color in which it manifests. Very interesting. So we're all praying for Hashem to be merciful to us. Says Ramak, there's another way of doing it. One can verbally do this, that is called prayer, but another way of doing it is actually thinking of a color. Thinking, attaching your soul to a particular sphere or color will therefore connect to that color and bring you down that particular attribute that you're looking for. Therefore, it is if it is total chesed you're looking for, then imagine pure white, he says. If you desire less chesed, imagine off-white. Interesting. Alternatively, one who desires to draw the power of judgment, who wants strength, one would wear, listen to this, he says, wear the color red. And the image of name, and imagine the name of Hashem in red. It's really, it's an amazing thing, because we take for random what we wear. It's just, who cares what colors we wear, blue, black, purple, yellow, what's the difference? Well, says the Ramak, the great Kabbalist, what you wear will influence your mood, okay? Red is very powerful, purple is very powerful. So says the Ramak, if you want to feel strength, wear red, okay? And so too for the influence of mercy, one should wear white clothing. Now, what's his proof? Look at the proof that he brings. We see this clearly from the Kohanim, who worked in the Beit HaMikdash. In the Beit HaMikdash, the Kohanim would wear totally white clothing, everything white. Why? Why would they wear white? Why not wear different colors? Or wear an assortment of colors? Because white was appealing to that paradigm called Chesed, and when they wore whites, that attracted that merciful quality towards them. And the Kohen Gadol on Yom Kippur, how he would remove his golden clothing and also wear white. Why would he change the color of his clothing if it meant absolutely nothing? Do you think the Kohen Gadol was worried about the audience, what they're going to think about him? He's wearing gold now, he's wearing white now. Who cares? He's busy giving a kapara, an atonement for all the entire world, especially for Klal Yisrael. Do you think he could care less what he's wearing? Why did Hashem order him to wear different colors? Again, this is to attract that mercy quality that he was trying to achieve through the avodah, through the service that he was doing. Very powerful. Now, another proof that he brings is interesting. He says, non-Jews serve idols. When they serve idols, they would use different colored clothing while summoning and associated forces from mazalot, celestial bodies. That was known. That's also brought in the Gemaras. Different Gemaras bring down that they would lie down in the basic floors in the cemeteries, whisper cantations of their so-called Avodah Zarah, the god, and wear colored clothing. They knew exactly what color would attribute through this different process, through the whispers they would be doing, through the fact that they were in the cemetery. That would attract the forces that they're trying to do. Interesting proof. He continues. We also see an example of this from the breastplate of the Kohen Gadol, who wore 12 colored stones associated with 12 tribes of Israel. Each one would light up when a message from Hashem was received, okay, from heaven was received. So those, remember the Kohen Gadol with the 10 breastplates, all different colors. Why were they all different colors? Again, another proof that colors are powerful. They bring messages. Remember this, colors bring messages. When one sees or imagines colors, it affects the spiritual forces attached to them, since they are an extension of them. Okay, so I want you to think now in the terms of not that colors are things, are objects. I'm wearing a yellow shirt, I'm wearing a green shirt, a red shirt, but rather think of them as influences. Think of them as spiritual forces. It's true they manifest themselves as physical colors in this world. We got orange. I mean, the orange that you eat is orange, an apple is red or green apple. These are physical things that we have, but remember as well, that's only 2D thinking. 3D thinking would be saying that Hashem creates everything specifically. Why did he create this apple red? Why did he create this orange orange? Banana yellow? Why? Think. We're trying to think out of the box a little bit. We're trying to think like the Kabbalists were thinking. It will first, says the Ramak, again, these are all quotes from the Ramak, it will first affect your nefesh, the lower part of your soul, which affects the ruach, then your neshama, and higher. It will go on to reach the roots of its sources and reciprocate and influence you wishing to draw down and affect you, okay? So whatever quality you're looking for, strength, you're looking for love, you're looking for compassion, you're looking for mercy, whatever, there is a color you can think about which brings down that same influence that will give you that. It works as a mirror image of what you're projecting with your thoughts at the moment in time, attracting the same forces you create with your thoughts. So I hope that was clear. Very simple instructions. Theory, I should say, very simple theory of what he was talking about. But I want you now to look at the screen. Excuse me. And he gives us now a little bit more clues of what the 10 paradigms are and the associate colors with them. So let's go through them quickly. So the first one he says is Keter, which is the crown, which is usually associated to the top of the head. And he gives it a color of black, which black, again, you should know black is not a color. Black is the lack of color, or white. Okay, he says those two. Chokhmah, he says, is attributed to the blue color. Bina, understanding, is green. Chesed, which is mercy, is white. Gvura, strength, is obviously red. Tiferet, which is the lower level, which is associated really to the body, that's again white. Netzach, that's victory, which is red, it's also strength. Hod, which is green, Yesod is white. And Malchus includes all the colors. It's like the rainbow color, okay? So those are very overall, very general. It doesn't give us, a strong perspective on colors. So what I wanted to do is add to that from other places that I've seen, and other Kabbalists and other information, to give us a better perspective and a better handle on the colors and how to use color in our avoda, like the Kohanim use color in their service to Hashem. Let's try to do the same here as well, okay? Another Kabbalistic idea. So what I want to tell you is really, it's very simple. There's only 6 colors. There are infinite derivatives of the 6 colors, but they're called the 6 prime colors. And here they are over here. 6 main colors. That 1 is yellow, 2 is green, 3 is blue, 4 is violet or purple color, 5 is red, and 6 is orange. Very simple. Now between that you have yellow green or yellow orange or red orange or whatever, you have combinations, but let's try to make it simple here. 6 main colors. And we saw over there that you have 10 paradigms, 10 powers that are rooted above, which emit these colors, which are really influences. Now, to give a little bit more depth to that, so what would that mean for us? What are these qualities of these colors? So I wrote a bit of a list of what of my memory and what I've seen, again, that I found interesting. So, and then hopefully, if we have some time, well, I want to do some exercises that maybe you go into pairs and see what qualities and colors you're sensing from the other person. So red, for example, is life force, material life, business-minded, politics. Again, these are all strong-minded type of people that go into these professions, these vocations. You could see these type of people using red. Again, I have to mention as well that in every color there is a positive and negative, right? Just make it a little bit complicated. So red involved in law, natural leaders, because again, they got that red, that strength. Material can manifest his vision. He's a go-getter. Scarlet red, if you see like a darker bloody red, then now it's more of a spiritual leader. Okay. The negative of that red would be somebody who's very domineering, who's using the red in a non-positive way. Anger issues, legal issues. Again, the Gemara tells us in Shabbos that somebody who wants to become, who has born into the muzzle, we're not going to do astrology now, but those who understand astrology, that the muzzle, which is Odom, which is red, that person will become either a killer because he's born under the muzzle, the influence of the astrology sign, which will drive him for blood. So he'll go towards killing, or he can transform himself and use that power that he has to become a moel or a shochet. Okay? So the red has a positive and the red has a negative. Okay? What about the other colors? It's a blue, positive and negative. Blue is a truth seeker. It's a very honest person. Communicates very well, good communication. It's really a female color. That means a sensing color. Artistic, a dancer, actor, creative communication, very intuitive. People who have strong blues in them, that's what they are. The negative blue is, too much blue is a person become very depressive, lack of ability to communicate, deep thinker, but it's spiritual, but sometimes too spiritual that they're left alone in their spirituality instead of sharing it. Yellow, what about yellow, positive and negative? Yellow is a sign of intellect. Yeah, deep thinkers. So they're interested in the mind. They work with the mind. They're happy to sit at a desk all day long, counseling, teaching. They're very disciplined people, nurturing aspects, very good organizers, and they have a lot of true wisdom. Negative, yellow belly, a weaker person. It's associated to weakness as well. It could show also sign you look at a person and you're able to look into that aura that we spoke about last week and pinpoint and see a type of yellow that could show a little bit of disorder in the body. Okay, so we should look out for that. Green is a willingness to do things for people, a very kind person. Looks for new adventures, opportunities, loves nature. Makes sense, green is nature. Looking for renewal, rebirth, to restart. So if you see a person and you're feeling a lot of green for them, that's what it means, sense of well-being. Doctors and nurses have a lot of green in them. You can just tell a person is very nurturing when they have green. On the negative side, jealous, resentment, disharmony, spiritual toilment. So that means they're not settled in their mind. Orange has also very good qualities. We only have positive qualities when it comes to orange. It's a healing modality. People who are in alternative healings have a lot of orange in them. The sun, it's a quality of the sun. A very powerful source of energy and life. Purple is a very interesting color. Purple, the sensations of purple or the vibrations of purple are very, very powerful. Very, very exclusive to spiritual people. very spiritual people have a lot of purple in them. They want to express the spiritual truth. They want, they're very spiritual minded. The negative part of that is manic depression. They're extremists. You know, they're spiritual depressions. Power can corrupt them easily if they're spiritual, if they're not spiritual balanced. So therefore, they're always in a fight between the material and spiritual. This is sort of a bit of an exotic type of color. Eccentrics have a lot of purple in them, or very, very spiritual people. Okay, that's purple. Brown that we didn't speak about, but brown's a very powerful color as well. Brown is actually a mixture of red and green. Again, those primary colors. So that's a person who is just very a grounded person, works with his hands, a builder. I wrote lawyer over here because likes to work with people, likes to ground things, very, very methodical type of person, very hardworking, looking for a vocation, steady-minded, straight-minded. Negative of Brown would be suffering from nerves. Is the opposite, can't ground themselves. That's skin problems, other medical problems due to that nervousness, that imbalance. Gold is a mixture of orange and yellow, the two primary colors. Only positive. Very rare that you'll find gold in people's souls. Very, very unique. Yechidik segula have gold. It's one of the highest powers that we find. The Kohen Gadol would use it as part of his clothing for Yom Kippur. Pink, also very interesting, is more of a reddish color on the side of red, power, but it's a lighter power. That means it's a very nurturing mother's power, mother's love. Very sensitive people have pink. In men, means they're very attached to the mothers. They're very dependent on being close to the home. It's very female, but you can have that female quality in men as well. The negative is, in pink, is very, very sensitive, oversensitive, over emotional, domineering in mothers, mother-in-law aspect, quality, want to be in command. That's taking the love into the realm of power, which corrupts that. Okay, and silver also is a combination of colors. Always a good attitude, like a silver lining over a cloud. We have that expression as well. Very optimistic. The negative quality is a grayish silver, which would show signs of illnesses, Green or turquoise, very spiritual, attached to nature, attached to things which are very spiritual. And the last two I want to speak about is black. Black, as I mentioned before, is not a color. People make a mistake. It's actually the lack of color. When you have absolutely zero color, that is black. That's very rare that you should find that in people, because people have a life source. So we don't see black in people. White is a reflection of all colors. At the beginning of your experience, it can be white, but it will develop into later colors. That means when you look at somebody, you just feel a white glow from the person. That could be the initial experience, but as you go deeper into that feeling, you can start feeling colors coming out from there, okay? So something I want to mention, which I think people tend to ignore because they think it's an Indian philosophy. And we hear a lot about the chakras, no end. I want to tell you something very important. In the Jewish tradition, this is something that we do believe in, the Kabbalistic tradition, I should say. Now, what do I mean by that? Because in the Kabbalistic, I just want to throw this in to clear up the air, because I get a lot of people asking me about the chakras. What about? And this is something we do believe, because we're talking about the 10 paradigms. Now, I don't know if we have Kabbalists listening to us or not, but they would know that our 10 spheres, which are the foundations of all Kabbalahs, the 10 spheres, are based in the 7 chambers. Now, the Kabbalists would know what I'm talking about. The 7 chambers, which I wrote here on the left side of this board over here, my left side over here, is called the first one, the top one, which they call the crown, we call it Keser Chochma Bina, because all those are placed in one chamber called Hechal Kodesh Kodoshim. It's all in one chamber called Hechal Kodesh Kodoshim. The next chamber we call is Hechal Ava, which we call Chesed, which is also in the Das. The Das has two. That's the middle braid. You have Chochma Bina, and the Das is the middle. The Das holds Chasadim and Gvuras. The Das has Chasadim and Gvuras, which span all the way down the body. They're here, but they span down the body. So they call it the third eye, but we call it Das. Das is in the Hechal Ava. Then you have a Hechal Schus, that's Gvura. And you see from my arrow over here that it spans downwards. The Chesed will go down to the right-hand side because primarily the Chesed is on the right. And the Gvura will span down to the left-hand side, but it's all in Das. It's all in that middle calf. Then you have over here the Hechal Rotzon, that's Tiferes. The next one is Hechal Noga Netzach, that's what they call the solar plexus, which spans to the right-hand side. And then the Hechal Etzem HaShamayim, that's the other chamber which holds the sphere of Hod in it. And then finally you have the Hechal Livnat HaSapir, that's Yesod. Okay, so I just want to throw that in very quickly. I don't want to, we could spend a whole class just on that itself. But those are, again, the 10 paradigms, the 10 spheres attached to the 10 colors. They're all very, very powerful. So they call them shakas. We call them the 7 hecholos, the 7 paradigms. These 7 paradigms are very, very powerful. Okay. So, one second before we end off here. Ira, how are we doing for time now? Do we have time for an exercise, Ira?
Yeah, we have 24 minutes.
Okay, good. So let's take 10 minutes and let's break out to the breakout rooms. Okay. And what I want you to do is very simple. I want you to we're going to go back to a few slides, to the slides of the colors. And I want you to, without trying, again, we have to remember this is not something that we have to try to be successful, but rather we want to allow the experience to touch us. And as we allow the experience to touch us, we will sense things about the other person. But in the context of what we're learning over here, we want to try to sense colors. Now you're going to tell me, how can I sense a color? A color is a physical thing. It's an object. As I explained to you, colors are an influence. Like we said, red is, think about it, obviously, red. What's red? What does red make you think of? The red heart or anger. Red heart is love, anger, strong power. We think of this in an obvious sense. So blue, so allow the connotations of these colors to come to you naturally. And you'll be surprised. So I want you to sit there with a pen and paper and allow the person, like I said before in the last exercise we were doing, try to just be very open in front of the person and just start receiving and express, receive and express. These are exercises now to get out of yourself and to receive and express. You'll be fascinated, I'm sure, for what information you can receive. So Ira, 1 second, before we go into the breakaway, does anybody have any questions before we start the exercise? Okay, so let me make that clear again. You don't want to give them information, you are this, you are that, you are that. You want to say, okay, I'm feeling a color of red. I'm feeling a color blue. Again, we're working on developing our intuition over here. I'm feeling this color, yellow, red. Now, what does that mean to you? You have a list of colors which you just rattled off. Red, so that quality, I feel that you're very strong-minded. I feel that you're very business-minded. I feel that you have a very controlled mind. Okay, or you see yellow. I feel that you're a healing person, or blue, you're a very intelligent, artistic person. Express it. And don't be scared that whether you're right or wrong. That's not the point here. The point is to allow yourself to get out into the spiritual. From the material, which is in your body, allow your neshama to leave and experience the spiritual. These are all exercises, like building up weights in the gym. Okay, so, let's ask people now. Okay, let's get back to the recording. Let's ask everybody now who wants to share.
I'd like to share.
Okay. Well, you should be really with your partner, expressing that together.
Okay.
Okay. You know, what she said about you or what he said about you and so on and so forth, to
Okay.
see whether you were really focused on that person or not.
Okay. Aaron, are you available?
I'm here. Yeah.
Okay.
So,
So what you I'll say what you said about me first. Is that okay?
yeah, sure. Okay.
So the colors that Aaron mentioned were yellow.
Okay. So how did you feel about that, Ira?
I like yellow. It's a nice color.
Okay. So Aaron, what did you tell him about yellow? What about yellow?
This is the first time I've done this kind of exercise, so I was just going with what the ideas that were popping into my head.
Okay, good.
So I didn't really have much of a foresham on the concept of yellow. I just started
Okay, so
saying what I was thinking.
I wrote a list over here of what potentially it could mean, but you could have your own association with those colors. Okay. So I wrote about intellect and the strength of the mind, the interest in the mind, the discipline of the mind, the nurturing aspect. And I know Ira, so I would say that's all correct. You know, if that was, you know, that came into play. So yellow is would be very much associated with Ira. So that was very good. So what else did you tell him, Aaron? What other colors?
Red.
Red. Why did you tell him red?
It's just a color that came into my head.
Yeah, but what made you feel to say red? You must have felt it.
I want to say something along the lines of law or legal or some sort of analysis.
Right, very good. So again, I can tell you, I can speak for Ira. I know that he's very analytical and very strong-minded. So that's totally right. What else?
I said blue.
Blue. Why did you say blue?
Just some sort of nobility, so to speak.
Okay, very good. You know, he's a very honest, very noble person. So that would very much fit. See, you're getting it even though you didn't think you were getting it. Okay.
And the last one was rainbow white, was like spectrum or color spectrum or a combination of spectrum.
Okay, so why would you say white again? What made you feel?
Just some sort of honesty, some sort of purity.
Okay, very good. So I would give you 100% for all that. That was very, very accurate. Okay, anybody else? Okay, Ira, let's hear about you.
Okay, so I'm trying to remember the colors. The first one I remember was green.
Green, yeah. So what about green? What made you say green about Aaron?
I guess like even keeled.
Right.
That's what I say.
Even keel me that's straight.
Well-being, maybe, you know, looking at your list.
Okay, we want to try to feel those colors as they're coming out. Green. Why did I say? You have to question yourself. What? Put green. Don't say I saw the color green. It was put into your mind because obviously you're doing this exercise. You're connecting with somebody. Mm-hmm. So think what makes you feel when you think of the color green. What did I tell you? You got to receive and express. When you start holding it in your brain, you start adding colors.
Yes, I know. I don't have to hold it in my brain. Then I can't think about
Okay,
it.
so
There's lots
what
of
other
things while I'm holding my brain.
what other color did you see?
Black.
Black. Remember, black is not a color.
Okay. So that's kind of what came up. Maybe the combination of green and black together.
Okay, we have to work on with you a little bit more to get you relaxed and just let it flow. Okay, anybody else want to share?
So I was paired up with Mrs. Hisler, and I
Okay,
just immediately got like the feeling of pink and brown and a little bit of blue, but I can't tell you why.
I'm sure you can. Let's start with the color pink.
Well, I felt that she was like very nurturing, and I mean, I don't even know what it stands for. I'll look it up. I think that she was nurturing and maternal. And then the brown, I felt that she was grounded, but also like she was wearing brown. Like I think that that's one of her colors. And the blue, 1 second, let me take a look. The blue was, there was an undertone of blue in her aura. I felt a very strong feeling of pink and brown.
Very agree. You know, that's amazing. I would agree with you. So, Abigail, what was your response to that? I don't know if she's there or not, but I could probably speak for her,
No.
even though I haven't met her. But I pick up that as well with her. Very that motherly touch to her.
Yep.
That's in the pink, very nurturing, very soft-spoken. You know, and the brown, she's a very grounded person, you know, and she's very focused. When she has something in her mind, she likes to do it, you know, to get to where she wants to get. She's a very strong-minded person, so that's really on the money there.
And if you can you hear me now, Rabbi Mimram?
So we can't hear you. Can you speak a bit louder, Abigail?
Okay, with Cindy, I saw yellow and green, and I felt it was because soft hearing.
We can't really hear you. Can you speak more into the mic?
With Cindy, I felt she was yellow and green came to me, and I felt there was aspects of being soft, caring, and emotional. And I think Cindy thought that was appropriate.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Okay. Excellent. So, Cindy, do you agree with those colors?
Yeah, and also because I am a teacher, so it was very interesting that she said that. Mm-hmm.
Very good. Excellent. Okay. Beautiful. Who else? Moshe, Miriam, would you like to share with us? Miriam?
Is it okay if I share, Moshe?
Sure, go ahead. Yes.
Okay. So the first thing, what did I say? I don't remember. I don't even remember the first thing. Oh, was it blue?
Yes.
Yeah. So the first thing that the first color that came up with was blue, and blue I think of as someone who communicates, you know, their truth and is intuitive and is artistic, and the second color was pink. That I felt like that came up big, was pink. Very I think of pink as like nurturing and emotional and sensitive, and oh, and green. Green I think of as nature and willingness and looks for new opportunities.
Wow, what a description. So Moshe, what do you think about that?
I
It
don't
was
know.
100%. No, like it wasn't even 99%. It was like 100% everything. She's very intuitive.
Very good. And Moshe, what did you pick up for her?
I picked up just a few colors, but I don't have really I'm not sure if I know why I thought about it. It was yellow, orange, and I think I said also white.
Okay, so let's start with yellow. What do you feel about the yellow color with Miriam?
Yeah, she is intellectual and very good organizer and interested in the mind, probably discipline of the mind, counsel, teacher.
So is that right, Miriam?
Strong-minded. That's maybe I would say.
Right.
So, I don't know.
Strong-minded, very, very much.
Yeah,
Intellectual,
laughing.
really, and intellectual and into the mind. And I was a teacher for a
See that?
couple years, but I'm not teaching now. I don't want to do it anymore. I want to do something, different and more something unique and something that, I want to find like my talents.
Okay, great. So Moshe,
And a
what
good
was the
organizer,
color?
sometimes not. Sometimes not so much. Sometimes yes, not really though. I don't know. The good
Okay.
organizer, yeah, I can go on.
And Moshe, what was the other color you said?
Orange.
Okay, what about orange? Well, why did you pick why would you think of orange? What does
The
orange make
second
you
one.
think?
The power. Something was like strong. I didn't know what this was, but I see now the power of life and provide life and healing, like power.
Right. So very caring person, very, very thoughtful person. That's the power of life.
Life.
Right, Miriam.
What?
Isn't that right? You're very powerfully caring. You're a caring person.
Yeah, I think so.
Yes,
Yeah,
that's
I think
very
so.
much, very careful about life and all that. So that's very true. So I'm very, very proud, that you've all done amazingly good at this. And it's just a tool, really. We try to, well, it's more than a tool because like the Ramak says that if you plug into it, you get those energies. Okay, so it works both ways. And that's why people wear, those people who know the chokhmah, the wisdom in colors, they wear specific colors in order to influence themselves, to get those influences, okay? So that was very interesting. And we're going to continue again doing more exercises and different tools that we're going to be bringing towards the classes in order to develop our intuition. Okay, so I want to thank everybody for joining us in this class. And again, if you want to catch up on all the other classes, go to our YouTube channel on YouTube, Yeshiva Techen, and like those channels, like those videos, and you can catch up with them. Okay.
Rabbi Mimram, there's also been a request for the notes. The last sessions, I guess.
Okay, so we'll send you the notes. Just send Ira a reminder, and he'll send me a reminder, and we'll get you all those notes, all these slides you can have as well. Okay.
I'll send it out to the group when I get it.
Okay, great. All right, so have a great week, and we'll see you next week.
Thank
Thank
so
you.
much. Thank you.
Okay. All the best.
Thank you.
Thank you.